Morning, Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. I'm Larissa. It's my fat bitch diary. Mm. Time to drink some skulls, huh? Time to drink some skulls. Oh, am I beautiful yet? Am I? Am I beautiful? Mm-hmm. Oh. Next thing I'm going to do today, I got my ear candles. Supposedly, according to this is luxury collection. This is some luxury. Yeah. Let's stick those in my ears and light them on fire. Not even joking. Oh, what is this thing? Oh, ever since that transgender person stuck me with a needle, a couple weeks, literally within 2 weeks after that happened, the shape of my face changed, and there's some other things in my body that changed, within a very short period of time, and it's not. I don't resent getting older at all. I do resent being attacked to make me, to hurt me and to make me look. It's like when I look in the mirror, my neck, it's just like, and whoever did it, they thought it was funny. They hacked into my Amazon and sent me Strivectin cream afterwards. Strivectin is it's not a prescription, but it's like a medical grade neck cream. So, it was done to me on purpose. I sent the cream to my mother because it was expensive and you couldn't send it back or whatever, and I didn't know how to send it back, and I wasn't the one who ordered it, right? And then Amazon started harassing me about, write a review about it, Larissa. And I didn't want to write a review about it. I wanted to know, I contacted the company. I wanted to know what was the IP address from where the cream was ordered, because that would have, been a good indicator to the police about who stuck me with a needle, right? To alter my appearance, to alter my face. And when I was at the last funeral, my father was having a conversation with one of my uncles that's now dead. My grandma Rose had a set of twin brothers, Andy and Alex, and I can't remember which one it was. One of them was already dead, but he was sitting there with his grandkids, and and I don't know what they were talking about, but my grandma Rose's brothers all had these very deep, loud, resonant voices. They couldn't whisper. It was always a joke, right? Voices carried. And the uncle was my dad was whispering to him. And the uncle was like, "Oh yeah, my mother always said if you smoked, we'd break your neck." And the little boy makes this face to make his neck all stick out and fat and start. He's like, and he looks over at me and he goes, So I have to wonder if my parents had something to do with what was done to me to make my neck look like this. If I was attacked with hormones, because that happened after that funeral. It was. It was shortly after that I was then attacked. Yeah. Oh, there a while back. Um, a while back, I looked at how much a neck lift would be, because like I said, it's not that I resent looking older or getting older. I resent being attacked, and to make me look that way, and um, especially since before that they made this big deal about how my little sister was getting her neck fixed. Right, her chiropractor said she needed it. Right, and it's some big elaborate bullshit. It's some big elaborate gypsy bullshit, right? Because they're mad because I outed the family because the family was quote unquote passing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when my parents came to visit in Oakland before we bought this house, my mom was really, really weird. And there was a bunch of stuff. I was electrocuted after that in that house. There was something that was done to some wiring, and in the shower, we had to leave the house for 2 days. The fire department had to come in and find out what the problem was. Somebody had altered something in the wiring so that when I turned on, I almost got electrocuted in the shower. Um, there were lines that were wrapped around the pipes. So when I touched the metal handle to turn on the water hit me, it made a circuit, and I got electrocuted. Um, yeah. But my parents had been out the week before that. And when we went downstairs, there was like packaging from sanding sponges, you know, tucked up in this little area that was right up underneath the tub where I was electrocuted. Um, anyway, anyway, my mom was like, "What makes you feel beautiful?" Like there was all this bullshit. They were mad because I did this book called Susanna's Revenge. And the book was about shitty men attacking women for not doing anything wrong, right? And trying to set them up. So the story of Susanna, Shoshana in the Old Testament, you know, there's a couple seedy old men that want to fuck her, and she's like, you know, no, and she's in her garden where she always is to bathe, and these men come in while she's naked to get in the tub, and um or to get in to bathe in the spring that's in her private garden, right? And then they try to say that she came onto them and that they had to push her off, and they put this woman to death, right? When it's the other way around, like that's what the story is, right? Shitty men. So I had done this photo essay book that was about models and art and the history of art. And the whole point of the thing was to talk about how, you know, all of these classic pieces of artwork um, had live models that posed for them, and that the human body is not something shameful. It is something that is a gift and to be celebrated, and particularly with women, how women have been marginalized and persecuted, right, through voyeurism and all this stuff. So Omar and I did this piece, this book, and it was I would have hired a model, except I couldn't afford to hire a model. So I did the modeling, and we recreated. If I had been able to hire a model, then I would have been able to take the photos. I set up the photos. Omar just clicked them, right? Like the whole book was my setup. So I had all these classic pieces of artwork, and then we recreated the scenes using me as the model photographically. And so this is what the book was about. Well, it pissed people off, right? And it pissed off. I had gone and had laser hair removal on my legs and underarms and bikini line at Laser Away. And I wrote that in the credits because the photos are all untouched. None of them have any kind of Photoshop or anything. I didn't even color correct anything. The photos that were printed are the photos as they were taken. And that was my other comment, that, you know, we have so much photoshopping that's done in media, and, you know, alteration of image and these filters and all this shit, and nobody talks about it, right? Like, you're allowed to look at these images and think, oh, that's what that person looks like, and it's not what they fucking look like, right? Not at all, right? And that was like this whole cabal. And so you know, they tried to kill me a number of times, and my mom made all of these jokes about this, and so I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Like, was my family involved in the mutilation of my body here, right? In the attacks that have been made on me to make me ugly, right? Or to make me uglier. Because it's not like, my point wasn't that, like, oh, look at me, I'm so beautiful. That's not what this was about, ever. And I've never been a pretty woman. I've always been kind of a strange looking person, you know? But, it's like that priest, Father Jesus, when I went to talk to him, because I was in that little gypsy church in Jingletown, Mary Help of Christians, and they were all fucking superstitious. They're just from a different group than my group, and like me, they recognized customs that were, it's like, oh, well, how do you know this? And how do you know that? It's like, oh, well, I just come from a different group. And then they were all superstitious and shit and thought I was a government spy, and they called me a white witch and all this bullshit. And then that priest, fucking Monsignor, gives that fucking sermon where he's talking about, white witchcraft and all this shit. I'm not, and all these bitches were calling me the white witch, and I'm not a witch. It was a witch hunt. It was a fucking witch hunt, right? And so I went and talked to the priest, Padre Jesus, who the fucking bitch Jackie Palacios was calling Father Hot Pants, accusing him of having affairs with all these women. Well, he never hit on me. I never saw him do anything that was inappropriate with other women. But when I explained to him, and he was like, oh, I told him who I was and where I was from and all this shit. He's like, well, they're not going to accept you because you don't look like them. Well, all those bitches over there are big fat bitches, right? And they were mad. They used to talk shit about me all the time. I wasn't fat then. Like, if I went over to that church now, then they'd be okay, because now I'm fat just like them, right? So then it would be okay. But they were all shitty with me. They were all really, really shitty with me. So it's like, I don't know. Is this because of the church? Because they abuse women this way. They do. Is it the Curcio? Because, they're a cult and are coercive and use gossip to fuck with people. Is it the United Nations Association? Because, they were real shitty with me too. Like, Mary Steiner, tried to pass me off as a human trafficking victim. Like, I'm not a human trafficking victim. Just because I'm Romani doesn't mean that I am retarded or illiterate or living in a caravan or pickpocketing or any of this bullshit. I know how to read and write. I have a fucking college degree. And, people have, the whole thing has been obnoxious. And the gyps out here on the West Coast hate the groups on the East Coast. And they have been really shitty to me. And I remember my Aunt Helen making a comment one time to me about, oh, yeah, my mother always said, wouldn't it be nice to go out to the West Coast and meet the gypsies there? Well, in my family growing up, gypsy was a pejorative word, and I didn't even know it was a group that we were part of. I remember when I went and got my ears pierced when I was real little, the woman at the kiosk at the mall, the woman got the first one in, and it hurt, and I jumped out of the chair, and I ran down the Monroeville Mall. My mom had to come after me, and she yelled at me. She says, you're going to go back there, you're going to get your other ear pierced, because I'm not taking a gypsy home to your father. Yeah. So, I knew being a gypsy wasn't a good thing, right? I didn't know that's what we were. But, that's like the N-word, right? But there's argument about that within Roma community, there's groups that prefer to be called gypsy and groups that prefer to be called Roma. And this was part of the issue when they put together that treaty with Germany, with the country of Germany, that clusterfuck of a treaty. That is why Europe has been having, and since then, Europe has been having crazy immigration problems. As I told all the Rom all over that you're all fucking German now. We're all German. So when you're persecuted, I'll go to Germany, and then Germany's like, oh my God, we can't handle all this immigration, and oh my God, all these people with these different customs, causing all kinds of problems. People don't know what to do. Well, they did it to themselves. They signed that fucking treaty. Told everybody, you're all German now. Yeah. Ridiculous. 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 Redonkulous. Redonkulous. Anyway, like, I'd like to have my neck fixed because every time I look in the mirror, it's like being attacked again. Right? I'm just reminded, it's like, oh yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened with that transgender person, that short little, fat little transgender guy, female to male, stuck you with that fucking needle when you were just out trying to get some exercise at the roller rink. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Drinking from skulls. Fucking gypsy bullshit. Fucking gypsy bullshit. Really, truly is. Yeah. So, got some shit to do today. Yeah. Yep. Got some shit to do today. I guess I'm going to get on with it.